Morrison, Zionsville Monthly, and I'm coming to you from my remote location. Okay, maybe this isn't exactly where I am, but it's where I want to be. And with me today from her Zoom office is Lyle Browne, the Executive Director of the Zionsville Education Foundation. So obviously a wonderful organization. Thank you, Lyle, so much for being with me today. What I wanted to chat with you about is kind of some of us that are really aware of what ZEF does and the wonderful services that it helps with teachers and schools. Just like everybody else, you have been impacted by COVID and you've had to pivot. So I wanted to chat with you a little bit about what that pivoting has looked like, and then more importantly, how it affects, if it has affected at all, this upcoming fall grant cycle. And we'll talk about what those grants do. And then last but not least, most of us have attended and love the annual fundraiser that ZEF puts on. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that might look like this year. Again, knowing that we've been very flexible with all things. So Lyle, we'll start with, how have you guys pivoted and how crazy has it been for you?
Janelle, thanks so much for having us and for always shining the spotlight on so many great causes around our community. I really, really appreciate it. Yes, it has been a very unusual time for us, like everybody else. We have obviously worked virtually more than ever before, but it has been great because our volunteer board of 21 people has really stayed engaged with our work and with our mission, and to make sure that we are here and able to support whatever needs the schools and the teachers have. We've done that in a couple different ways lately. We did some Imagine Professional Development grants for teachers in the spring, even amidst kind of lockdown orders and our shutdown orders and that kind of thing. But we think that it is very important for those teachers to know that we still support the work that they do, and that we support continuous learning and growth and renewal opportunities for them. We also did probably the largest kind of COVID related grant we did was funding some video production equipment for the schools. And that video production equipment was used in a lot of different ways to bring a lot of those big events to our school community. Virtual graduation, the streaming of in-person graduation that just happened in July, Rachel's First Week, which is a vital program that is done with graduating seniors, and virtual finale, I mean, are all just kind of easy examples of the way that video production equipment really made a difference in being able to bring those events not only to students, but to families and to grandparents that might not have been able to travel here and see things in person. It really helped them kind of to feel a part of it and to know what their grandkids or nieces, nephews were able to do as well. So those are kind of some of the ways that we have pivoted, as you say, I love that word, in COVID, and we continue to do that with our back to school campaign. Usually in back to school times, we are at tables talking to people and telling them about the grants that we've done the past year, and obviously that's just not kind of as possible as in other years. So we have turned it into more of a virtual campaign and have really kicked that off kind of at the end of last week when the middle and high schools had their back to school days for kids to come get their schedules and that kind of thing. And that campaign is really so that we have the funds to support the immediate needs and the innovative ideas that teachers will have during this time, whether it's helping with the in-person piece or the virtual piece.
Right. So this year, I mean, I think it's easy to assume that the fall grant cycle, the grants or the grant requests that you get from the teachers will look a little different than they have in years past. And primarily, again, because now they have two sets of students. They have the in-person and they have the remote learners. And so whatever program or technologies that they're asking for will have to be able to be used for both sets of students and teaching styles.
And we have some of the most creative, hardworking teachers around, and they truly have great ideas. And it's been interesting because we have seen some of these grant ideas that started out as in-person ideas that then can turn into really good augmentation for some of the virtual learning as well. So a lot of times those classroom grants are able to be used kind of dual purpose and really have a strong use in both areas.
Well, again, I think it's important if people aren't familiar with how the foundation works. You are the fuel behind those grants coming to fruition. And so, but one of the big revenue drivers for you guys as an organization for ZEF is that annual fundraiser that happens in the fall.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I mean, that's obviously the first priority is raising those funds.
Yeah.
And then second, I think, is how do we get our hat? Because this is how we always get our new ZEF hat. And you know what, I should have worn my hat today.
That's okay.
But this has become a tradition for a lot of Zionsville families. And this is where you get your new annual hat and raise some money and have, if it's not the most important, it is definitely close to it. It's that time to come together, have that fellowship, and just, again, to raise awareness of all of the wonderful things, the grants that are given. So knowing that we've pretty much canceled every fun event, and it's like the perpetual fun destroyer, what gets canceled next, but knowing that there is a responsibility for safety, as well as trying to raise money. How are you guys, kind of what's the plan for now? Will you still have a fundraiser? And if so, what does that kind of look like at this time?
Yeah, great questions and great observations about so many things that are changing. We will definitely have ZEF Bash. It's called ZEF Bash this year, and it will take place on Saturday, November 14th. We are making plans for whatever situation that we're in at the time. So obviously we have plans for a great virtual event, and we have plans for a great in-person event as well. And we'll just, time will tell. And when we have to, there will become a point over the next kind of month or two where we'll need to kind of make that call. But either way, the goal of the event doesn't change, and the spirit of community of that event doesn't change. So we will be raising funds to help support teachers and schools and try to fund those innovative ideas and immediate needs that they have, whether it's during a pandemic or not during a pandemic. But our mission doesn't change as far as being able to support teachers and students and schools really have kind of access to some of those things that wouldn't otherwise be possible because of tight budgets.
Exactly. Now, in the meanwhile, if somebody should feel, if they're a regular donor or supporter of ZEF, how can people get engaged now? We don't have to wait till a fundraiser to do that. So what can we do if we want to go ahead and give you a little support now?
Oh, that would be fantastic. You can go to our website, which is zionsvilleeducationfoundation.org, all spelled out. And there is a little button up in the top right-hand corner that says Back to School. There's one that says Donate as well. Our Back to School campaign is kind of in full force at this point. And we have a kind of a special gift for donors right now. If you donate $50 or more, then you get 2 masks. They're black masks with a Zionsville Z on it. And you get 1 mask to give to a teacher of your choice. And then you get a second mask to keep and enjoy. So that is really the best way at this point to help us, is to just log on our website and donate there. And those funds can be then immediately used to help the schools and help teachers. So, yeah.
Very cool. Okay, well, Lyle, thank you very much for sharing the updates. And when can we expect the fall grants to be announced? Kind of give us a timeline for that.
Usually they're announced sometime in October, and we may have some kind of special ones before then, but usually they're announced sometime in October. But it's an unusual year, so I think our timeline will change a little bit as well. So.
Everything is very fluid right now. I think if there's one thing that's constant right now, it's change.
Yes, so, that's true. That's true.
Okay, well, we will follow up and do an update with those grants when they are announced.
That would be wonderful.
And then certainly, and Zionsville Monthly is proud to be a sponsor of the ZEF Bash. So again, we will have more updates and all of the fun things that people can anticipate, whether it's virtually or in person or both, an option of either or, and we will go from there. But again, for today, if you feel that you would like more information about ZEF and or how to help and support the organization and the grants, then obviously visit the website and hit the donate button. So thanks for tuning in. Lyle, thank you for your time today.
Thank you,
Greatly
Janelle.
appreciate it.
Appreciate all you do.
Thank you. Stay well out there.
You too.